repeats against the hour as the night sky begins to morning.
Hey friends, how's it going? My name is Ashley Rose, but of course you can call me Ash. I also go by Ash Rose, XIII. That's Roman numeral 13 because it is my lucky number. This is my channel, so welcome. And over here, you know, I talk about music, mainly punk, hard punk, alternative, alt, I guess would be the terminology, and goth rock culture, subculture, music and entertainment. And I also do my makeup, so you're here getting ready with me. So once again, welcome back. If you do not know who I am, my name, once again, is Ash, and I'm an interviewer, a podcaster, journalist, writer, and artist, streamer. I do a lot of things. And of course, you can check out all my stuff, the link in the description. And before we get started, of course, check out Vampyre Cosmetics. You can get up to 20% off with my link in the description or using my code AROSE CPE, that's Charlie Papa Echo. And of course, Rep Sports. Get your Raise Energy there, 15% off of a case or whatever you order from Rep Sports using Rose Nova as your code. Link's also in the description. So, hi, how are you? I know, running a little late on this video, but here I am. Here we are. So, of course, I am here once, twice a week. And of course, if you like music, you like makeup, subscribe. Hit the like button. Comment or reach out to me on any social media. Once again, link is in description. So, now that we've got all that taken care of and all that covered, I have introduced myself to you, if you did not know, and anything I talk about, of course, as we say in sports entertainment, will be in picture-in-picture action somewhere on the screen. So there you go. So as you know, I always discuss and talk about horror punk because it's one of my favorite genres. Some people would say it's not a genre, but it totally is a genre. I mean, it can even fall in the lines of horror rock too, depending on what you listen to. And I've got primer everywhere, and I need to get my little hair clips because, and now my hands are super slippery because of it. So yes. And of course, if you don't know what horror punk is, once again, it is punk rock influenced by macabre horror themes. And it has a traditional doo-wop sound. I don't necessarily say it has a traditional doo-wop sound. I say it's more just like a punk. It's punk rock mixed with, you know, horror and macabre themes. That's how I describe it. But people would traditionally say it's got a doo-wop sound. You ever wonder where, if you don't know this, you ever wonder where the phrase "long live the horror" comes from? It's a very known saying, especially in that genre, that subculture. I think even, you know, just in the horror community, long live the horror. Where does it come from? Well, we're going to talk about it today. And my nose itches, hold on. Okay, we're going to talk about it today. So long live the horror came, it's a saying from one of the biggest horror rock bands. Horror punk, horror rock. Well, I consider them both, so we're going to get into that as to why. And of course, this is not a complete history of the band. It's just, you know, a couple things I know. And here or there, you know, that you can find on the internet, interviews, things that I particularly know and find interesting about every band that I talk about. So long live the horror actually is a saying or a slogan that's very much said in the horror punk community. For those of you that are new to that community or you're interested in that style of music. I need more foundation. Saying comes from a band known as Blitzkid. That's right. That's what we're talking about. And of course, we talked about, you know, the first Carnation and Misfits in the previous video. And of course, we will get to the second one. But I'm going in this particular order for a certain reason, because it's all going to make sense. It's going to all trickle down. And of course, you can go back to any of these videos. You're more than welcome to. So we're going to go with Blitzkid because Blitzkid is considered one of the most famous, most known horror punk bands. Now, Blitzkid really picked up, I guess you can say, the mantle of the genre, in my opinion. And once again, this is my opinion. It's not based on anything. After quite some time, we're talking about after the Graves era of Misfits. Talking about after that time period. Now, of course, if you're interested in any of the makeup products I'm using, they are in the description. You can check them out. And all the eyeshadows and even my blush is from Vampyre Cosmetics. Now, they don't have a blush, but I do use the makeup palette. I use one of the palettes as a blush. And I'll go over that eventually. It'll be in the description. You'll see it. So, it comes from a band called Blitzkid. They really picked up the horror punk mantle right a little bit after New Misfits era, you know. After the Graves era, they had that sound. They were just, you know, a couple guys doing their own thing in West Virginia. They ended up saying that because they used to play at this small venue. I can't figure out, I don't remember the name. I do remember hearing this particular story somewhere. I'm sure it's in an interview somewhere. They used to play at this venue that was like it was like a house. Like it was like it wasn't really a venue or a bar. It could barely pass. And they were told that they couldn't play there anymore because they were too loud, but people kept requesting them. So they're like, okay, you can come and play, but just, you know, try not to be too loud. So they would just say, well, long live the horror, you know, we're going to go ahead and continue on. So that's where that saying comes from. Let's see, I use this palette, this one, and this one. You know what? No, we're going to use the Vincent Price palette. That is the eyeshadow palette we're going to use. It's the Vincent Price one. Designed by Creepsville. Go ahead and check out that brand. Very awesome brand. Give them a look, but of course these are all by Vampyre Cosmetics. So anyways, back to Blitzkid. Now there has been several members of Blitzkid, but we're only going to talk about the primary ones, which is JB MONSTROSITY and Argyle Goolsby. Sorry, I can't talk right. There have been other ones, you know, other people that have been in the band, but particularly these are the primary and most consistent members that started Blitzkid. So we'll be talking about that. Jason Trioxin, we'll be talking about him another time because I'll be doing a separate video on Mr. Monster and as far as his impact in the horror punk genre. Because you know, to this day, people say that genre has not been the same since he's been gone. But we'll talk about his contributions and his influence in that scene in a later time. So anyways, Blitzkid we'll just get to the point. The technical Wikipedia definition of Blitzkid is they're an American horror punk band from Bluefield, West Virginia. And they are one of the leading exponents of the horror punk scene. The band is led by TB and singer bassist Argyle Goolsby. I'm sorry, Goolsby. And they started in 1997. They were together up into 2012. They split up and then they got back together eventually in 2020. Now the split of Blitzkid wasn't anything in particular that was there wasn't really any major falling out or anything like that. It was more of they just, I guess maybe they just wanted a break from each other, or they just wanted to go pursue other opportunities because they both had things that they wanted to do. Goolsby would go on to have a very successful solo career. He's also in the band Calabrese, which we will talk another time because Calabrese is part of that scene. We'll talk about Calabrese another time. The brothers, the vampire brothers, as I call them, that rock. Another video, another time. Goolsby's also a well-known tattoo artist as well. And very successful solo career, as I stated. You know, in my opinion, he's got some really, really solid tracks for his solo performances. He also did a soundtrack for Nosferatu, the old Nosferatu, you know, the black and white film, because it didn't really have a track, apparently. But he did that. He's done a lot of things, and we'll also continue talking about everything else too. I do have to give you a warning. There are some things that I'm about to say that are not suitable for children. So I have to give you that warning because on YouTube, we have to give that warning. So there's some explicit content that's going to be discussed. So if anything's triggering to you or you're very sensitive, skip over that part of the video or just click away, you know, wait till the next episode. So they used to reverse. Oh my God, I cannot talk right. So they used to rehearse in Saltville, Virginia, because their drummer, I believe, lived there at the time, and that's why they used to rehearse there. The #1 stream song from Blitzkid is a song called She Dominates. It has, I believe now it has over 1 million listens, but it's the most listened and played song. Now, the song was written by JB, and he would state that his influence for the song She Dominates is because he had a very wonderful lady friend. I guess he somehow was, I guess he was influenced by her or maybe inspired by her. I'm not 100% sure, but it was about a friend of his, this lady friend that he had, who partaked and participated in these consensual activities. So that is where the lyrics of the song came from. And I honestly think it's not because, you know, of the title of the song, why it's so popular. I don't think it, you know, I don't think we're a bunch of perverts. Well, most of the time, I don't think we're a bunch of perverts. I think it's because it's one of their most catchy, it has some of the catchiest riffs in it, in my opinion. So that is where that song comes from. Of course, it is led by both of them, the band. It's led by TB and Goolsby. They also would go on to compose a track for a friend of theirs in 2006. Now, in 2006, there was a film called Cannibal Flesh Riot, which is where that song comes from. See, I'm going to use this one. I know I'm kind of just running through whatever makeup-wise. Tell me. I don't know where my eyeliner is. Oh, well. I have another one here. I was thinking of a certain eyeliner I have. Now, this Vincent Price palette, actually, it's blue light reflective too, I believe. If my understanding is that it glows. like the makeup in here. That's why it's so fluorescent and bright. But that's where this white is. But I felt like wearing it today because I really wanted to wear the green in here, which is called Thriller. Which I don't wear it very often, but I felt like this was the appropriate time too. There it is. And once again, you know, this is part of the reason why I said, you know, if you're easily offended or a minor or something, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here because I'm about to discuss some of the tracks. So Goolsby actually owns a production company called ACWNN Productions. Now, this production company, you can actually find and order all your Blitzkid merch even to this day. You can go to their store, and I'll put the link in the description, and I will also link their music too, so you can check them out if you've never heard Blitzkid. They have a lot of their known songs is Pretty in a Casket, She Dominates, Jane Doe number 9. There's tons of tracks you can check out from them. So ACWNN Productions, what does it stand for? ACWNN actually stands for A Corpse with No Name. Now, that was founded in 1997. And like I said, it is ran by Goolsby himself. Now, why is it called that? I'm not 100% sure why it's called that. I don't know if it's because Baby Ghouls thought it sounded really cool. You know, it follows that horror macabre thing. But what I do know, what I'm about to talk about, is the song Jane Doe number 9. Jane Doe number 9 was a song that Goolsby wrote. And that song is about a girl he dated. She had moved into town looking for, I believe it was her father. And once again, you check this out. I remember specifically this being said on a live show that was recorded, like you know, those DVD packages that you would get. I think you can actually see that one on YouTube too. I think it's still there. But Jane Doe number 9. Now, Jane Doe number 9, once again, was written about this girl that Goolsby he had dated. She moved into town to look for her father. And she was assaulted later on. She was taken and assaulted, beaten beyond recognition. And so much so that they couldn't identify her. And she was written off in the news, local media, as Jane Doe number 9. He never got to say goodbye to her. He never, I guess, really grieved up until that point when he found out. I'm not too sure. I can't speak for him. But it is in one of the live concerts that he talks about the song. So he wrote that song as, I guess, a goodbye to her. Just really sad. It's like, to this day, I really can't listen to that song because it makes me sad, because I know what it's about. And I recall a critic being incredibly harsh about that album from Blitzkid. And in my opinion, because I felt like that album that it came from and that particular song wasn't particularly horror punk. It wasn't horror punk enough for them I guess that's what I took from my opinion from when I read the article. I won't even talk about that critic that reviewed that article because I felt like it was unfair, because I feel that all artists should be allowed to grow, expand, experiment, change, you know, things as far as their music, you know, as far as creativity. Sorry. See my so they are on tour again, so you can see Blitzkid live. You can also see Goolsby uh live too. He's always touring on and off. He's touring also with Calabrese. Uh he also has his own solo band too, but we'll get into his solo career another time. They were on Antidote Records, Fiend Force Records, People Like You Records, um, No Balls Records, which I've heard of before because I recall a few artists that I listened to, I think were on that record label or that distributor. The Black Sneer Records, but they're mainly on now ACWNN, which is of course their own thing. Now, most of the bands that we're going to start off with and talk about will be from Fiend Force because a lot of the what I'm about to say is going to make a little bit more sense later on. Well, later on will make more sense because it's kind of like in that genre, a lot of the musicians kind of play together and they distribute it out to different bands. And you'll see what I mean because once you'll start connecting them per video. So they all kind of split up into like, I guess if it was a tree, it would be like different branches. So you would be like 90s Misfits would, and then Blitzkid would occur, you know, and have a major influence on that scene. And then you start splitting into like Mr. Monster, and then you start splitting into like Nimvid, and then you start splitting into the other and Wednesday 13. They all kind of spread out, and you'll see what I mean. A lot of them have all collabed with each other. The Crimson Ghosts have collabed with almost, I think, everyone that in that genre, just about. Let's see. I'm gonna use the green one. Now the albums, of course, would be Terrifying Tales, Trace of a Stranger, Five Cellars Below, Anatomy of Reanimation Volume 1, which is, I mean, it's a re-recording. It's an album of re-recordings, I believe. So you can check that out. And then they have Apparitional. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I can't talk right today, so excuse me. But then again, I can never talk right because I have an accent and I'm from Texas. And they teach you that y'all is a word. Y'all is a word in Texas. How's that look? I like it. I like it. You know, I like the screen. I like it. I dig it. I like it. It's me. Kind of reminds me of Halloween. It's good. It's great. That's what we want. It's like a green apple color, right? Or a sewage color. What are the two? Well, anyways, the last album would be the only album that Goolsby would lead vocals on the whole thing. So he would be singing every single track on there. There is a track on there with Doyle actually too. And of course, you know, I'll be showing some pictures on the screen so you can know what Blitzkid looks like. And of course, you know, what their logo looks like and all that cool stuff. Now, as far as the horror punk sound, I really feel like Blitzkid really started expanding and developing their style right around 5 Sellers Below. To me, that's when they kind of started sounding more horror rock than anything. They were more rock than punk, because they started including different styles of sounds, instruments, gradually heading towards that album and then moving on forward. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm trying to find my liner brush. So definitely it's also probably one of their albums that is covered the most as far as different bands. They usually play a lot of songs from 5 Sellers Below. I personally like that album as well. It's actually the main album I listen to from Blitzkid a lot. They're also really into Mothman. I guess because Mothman's from West Virginia, I think. Where is, what eyeliner should I use? Because it's from there and it's theirs, they're very much known for how they deliver their stage presence, their antics as well. You can always see like big blood, and they're always in makeup. I think I'm done with this. Nope. That is not what I'm looking for. And if you're on, of course, if you're listening to this on any audio, I know you can hear me shuffling around looking for everything. I don't need that. Looking for everything. uh Apparently Goolsby used to break a lot of his bass strings because he didn't know how to string it right. I actually saw that on an interview. It could have been, you know what? It could have been his Instagram live that he was talking about it. Could have been. But apparently he didn't know how to like that there was like an appropriate way to string your instrument. If you play a stringed instrument, you should know what I'm talking about. I actually used to play violin, so I do know that there is a certain way you're supposed to string instruments. Let Flowers Die is also a very good album too. So that's a little bit about Blitzkid, as far as their influence. Now you know where the saying comes from. Long live the horror. Long live the horror. They were recently announced on a festival as well. believe maybe a couple. I don't know. I need to check. But you could definitely go on you can go to their website and find out too. I think that's really it that all I'm gonna go over real quick. Just a little introduction. I don't know if I should leave my lips plain. Maybe. Hmm. Um, I've kind of just been doing this whole like messy bun look. That's like kind of been my recent thing that I've been doing lately. Uh, let's see, what else can we say? Goolsby actually has a, oh my God. I, trying to line my lips and I fucked up. Because I was talking. Hold on. Turn this on so I can see what I'm doing. So other than being a tattoo artist, producer, bassist, artist, other than that, he also has a bachelor's in arts and I think English, or is it no, art history. It's art history. His bachelor's in art history. Very well educated, very knowledgeable when he talks and discuss different just things. But so English and art history is what he has a degree in. God, my nose itches a lot. My allergies are bad. So yes, they did reform and they are actively performing together. Now, as far as any new albums, I haven't heard anything wise about anything new, but I hope there's something new because we could definitely use a new Blitzkid album. I think it'll be awesome. Well, maybe him and JB could get together, write some new tracks. That would be pretty sweet. Now, as far as, if you're sad about, because I told the story about a brief story about Jane Doe #9. Goolsby would eventually meet the love of his life, and he would marry his long-term girlfriend. Now I don't know her name, and of course I don't look into that sort of thing because I want to respect their privacy and everything and their own personal life, and that'll be up to him if he ever, I know he's shared a picture of them on their anniversary before, like on, I don't know if it was Instagram or Facebook. I mean, it's the same, right? It's meta. But he would marry his long-term girlfriend and he would eventually find love again afterwards. But it's just so sad, she's looking to reconnect with her father. And yeah, it's very tragic. And it's kind of frightening as to what can happen in the world. And it's a huge reality check. So anyways, once again, my name's Ash. Come subscribe. I'm here once, sometimes twice a week with a new video. Come check it out. But right now I do have to go. So later.
She moves across the ages, never lost for the broken heart.